Okay. I don't have a lot today, but let's start. Let's start with seeing if get an answer to a question that I asked twice, or that was asked twice last week, having to do with the Iran and the $400 million shipment. And that question is, are you now able to say whether or not the plane with the money landed before the plane with the prisoners took off from Tehran? Because as you may know, since the question was last asked on Thursday, one of the former prisoners said that they had to wait for this other plane, or at least an other plane to arrive. Are you able to shed any more light on that?
So I'm not going to get into the TikTok of specifics, but claims that our freed Americans were not allowed to depart Iran until a plane full of cash landed anywhere are false. As U.S. officials have previously publicly discussed, there was a delay in our citizens being released that day that had nothing to do with the Hague settlement and was related to resolving some last-minute issues solely related to the prisoners. Most importantly, locating and ensuring all of the individuals who were involved with the prisoner swap were on the plane and ready to depart with Mr. Razayan, Mr. Abedini, and Mr. Hekmati. Suffice it to say, getting all the pieces put into place, making sure our citizens were released, and with our reciprocal goodwill gesture of providing relief to certain Iranian citizens here in the United States required delicate diplomacy up to the end. So I think that answers your question.
So, okay, I missed the part where you said that when the plane arrived.
It was the question if there was a delay before the plane taking off until a plane coming down. It was false.
There was not. So, in
there
other
was
words,
not a delay. There was no timing that was associated between the two.
Okay, well, whether or not you intended for there to be timing or not, is it correct that the plane with the money landed before the plane with the prisoners took off?
No, claims that the freed Americans were not allowed to depart until a plane full of cash, and I'm doing that in air quotes, are just false.
Yeah, but still, in terms of the timing of it, did one arrive before the other left?
There was no delay in allowing the Americans to leave.
Well, you just said there was a delay, and it was related to
there was no delay waiting for a second plane full of cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand that you don't want to draw any connection between the two things. I just want to know whether or not the plane with the money landed before the plane with the
I'm not going to get into a TikTok. What I do, though, want to disassociate the idea, that you haven't said, but has been in the public narrative, that there was some sort of tie between the two.
Yeah, I realize that you guys don't think there was, but it seems a very simple question to ask whether or not the plane with the money landed before the plane with the prisoners took off.
I have no exact TikTok on that. What I do know is that the plane with the Americans was only delayed taking off because of logistics that were associated with the people on board. So.
I just have to go back to the plane, the issue of the planes.
Yeah.
And the prisoners. What was the logistical problem that kept them on the ground in Tehran?
It was locating and ensuring that all of the individuals who were involved with the prisoner swap were on the plane and were ready.
And how do you know that that wasn't related to a plane with cash arriving?
So we feel confident that that was a logistical issue that was solely related to the individuals on the plane.
But how do you know that? Because the Iranians told you, or the Iranians?
It was our assessment based on the information we had.
Yeah, but I mean, there are many countries in the world where you can go through, immigration, and you're hit up for a bribe, and they might say that it's a logistical issue that's delaying you getting in, but in fact, they want some cash. So I'm just curious as to why it is that you're confident that it was an unrelated logistical issue in this case.
So based on the information that we knew and what was happening on the ground, we're confident that it was related solely to those individuals.